Let's execute an immediate high-gear tactical vector shift away from Black Ops military cyber terminals and encrypted networks and step directly onto the freezing, calculation-heavy tracking grids of high-altitude alpine survival, defensive small-town domestic security, and intense single-parent protection arrays. We are crossing the threshold directly into the jagged, snow-blind peaks and heavily isolated territorial borders of the Rockies, with star-crossed Colorado, the exceptional, rapid-pulsing opening salvo of the chart-topping Hart County series by the reigning master of high-elevation emotional suspense, Hannah Shield. This high-stakes deployment delivers a thrilling look at an operational crossroad where past trauma wreckage, localized single-parent vulnerabilities, and an encroaching external executioner matrix collide at terminal velocity. Let's lay out the strategic narrative grid. If you are a fan of high-octane, slow-burn romantic thrillers where an elite, hyper-focused alpha single dad must navigate an absolute maze of mountain pass bottlenecks, corrupt county entities, and brutal blizzard blockades while running an aggressive protective loop around a targeted asset, where an analytical mind uses deep situational awareness, geographic tracking, and absolute protective dominance to secure a family ring, and where the author utilizes an incandescent, forbidden star-crossed lovers trapped in a winter storm diagnostic routine to test our hero's structural survival perimeters, this book is engineered to lock you in. Shield completely dominates the Alpine procedural noir dynamic, capturing the heart-racing emotional momentum, suffocating small-town dynamics, and deep psychological friction popularized by genre vanguards like Devney Perry, Catherine Cowles, Kendra Elliott, and Melinda Lee, while treating backcountry law enforcement tactics, high-altitude emergency logistics, and protective domestic grids with absolute technical mastery. The narrative tracking grid zeroes in on our central protagonist axis, a masterfully calculated duet of a hardened local guardian and a fiercely resilient heroine fleeing a dark institutional trap. Our hero is the ultimate blueprint of defensive resilience, operating under a strict calculation-heavy routine to guard his children and his local sector from external threats, while navigating a locked-in mountain valley where any unfamiliar footprint carries immediate danger metrics. His daily workspace is a highly monitored playground of snow-choked pine forests, family homesteads, and deep local intelligence networks. His internal defense mechanisms are locked down tight behind a layer of absolute parental focus, his entire analytical focus strictly consumed by monitoring regional threat vectors, parsing past familial betrayals, and shielding his children's sanctuary from being compromised by external anomalies. The spark ignites when his active scanning perimeter registers a devastating structural anomaly, the arrival of a quiet, beautifully complex heroine whose very presence breaches his established isolation guidelines. She is a survivor running from a severe systemic threat, her entire profile built around running absolute unyielding defensive maneuvers to stay off the grid of a powerful shadow entity. Yet the official diagnostic metrics of his internal radar show an immediate total system overload. Standard diplomatic parameters are pulled entirely offline as hidden historical hazards, localized environmental crises, and an external tracking purge threaten to expose her coordinates and compromise his family ring. Our alpha single dad refuses to let external executioners violate his sector. He initiates an aggressive, calculation-heavy defensive loop, sweeping her directly into his fortified inner circle. The tactical parameters instantly explode as their forced proximity turns completely active, transforming the isolated alpine estate into a volatile psychological pressure cooker and a physical fortress. Our veteran survivalist duo is forced to deploy their massive intuitive tradecraft, environmental mapping skills, and raw emotional stamina to maintain a united front against the shadows closing in. When deceptive external hunters, corrupt local authorities, and calculation-heavy criminal algorithms launch aggressive countermeasures to permanently suppress the heroine's safety grid, their survival instincts engage their final deployment tracks. Every midnight boundary sweep through the sub-zero timber, every silent choice to let their physical proximity breach standard boundaries behind closed cabin doors, and every intense moment of shielding each other's hidden emotional scars chips away at their reliance on original defensive rules. What follows is an exceptional high-stakes war of perspective, tactical position, and raw human grit. We watch the Mountain County's deceptive perimeters completely unwrapped, as S.H.I.E.L.D. reveals that the true victory requires more than just hiding out the winter. It demands an absolute, uncompromising annihilation of the forces threatening their sanctuary, while our central duo smooths over each other's psychological and defensive blind spots with devastating analytical force. A brutal series of high-altitude confrontations and intense domestic trials shifts the clock into its terminal phase, proving that the executioners have tracked them to their final outpost. To survive the impending locked grid trap and permanently secure their future, our resilient pair must unleash an absolute, unyielding defense of their deep, undeniable bond. It is a small-town romantic suspense,
single dad protection drama, forced proximity Alpine thriller, high-velocity contemporary romance masterpiece that treats deep localized logistics and intense emotional friction with elite precision. The tension here burns with a sharp, calculation-heavy intensity. We are talking about that high-frequency one unsecured window triggers a fatal home invasion energy, where a sudden pause in a dark cabin corridor, an unexpected shift in your partner's protective physical posture during a sudden mountain whiteout, or a heavy, possessive realization that the single father has completely mapped your darkest vulnerabilities carries massive structural weight. Shield writes with an exceptionally fresh, vivid, and beautifully blunt voice, perfectly capturing the cold, metallic hum of snowmobiles, the oppressive, heavy atmosphere of a winter storm canopy, and the distinct, subtle scent of cedarwood, gun oil, expensive whiskey, fresh snow, and pure, unadulterated suspense. What truly elevates the series starter into elite territory is the author's unmatched ability to balance realistic high-altitude survival logistics and genuine high-stakes tactical protective maneuvers alongside a breathtaking narrative pace and deep emotional hooks. Our protagonist duo doesn't rely on unbelievable superficial Hollywood superhero action tropes. Their immense situational intelligence, strategic patience, and profound survival instincts match the complexity of the chaotic criminal algorithms threatening them step for step, making their choices to risk everything feel profoundly authentic and deeply gripping. The pacing moves with calculated momentum, tracking intense conversational standoffs and breathtaking personal breakthroughs before ratcheting up to an absolute jaw-dropping final confrontation that delivers total, hard-earned closure to their horizon. Star-Crossed Colorado is the definitive pro-level upgrade your high-stakes contemporary romance and alpha suspense fiction library demands right now. It is elegant, immensely fast-paced, and utterly unputdownable. It proves that when your entire sanctuary is targeted by a cold, calculating institutional monster, the most revolutionary play you can execute is to lock your perimeters, embrace your deepest bonds, and fight like hell alongside your protector to rewrite the data. So, secure your personal reading sanctuary, review your emotional defensive perimeters, open your Kindle, and prepare to track the county.